Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's Tropical Atlantic Basin update. So, looking at Hurricane Lee as of 8 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, Tuesday, September the 12th, Hurricane Lee has maximum sustained winds of 115 miles per hour, a minimum central pressure of 946 millibars, and northwesterly movement at 7 miles per hour. Hurricane Margaret has maximum sustained winds of 80 miles per hour, a minimum central pressure of 977 millibars, and northerly movement at 14 miles per hour. And then we have both Invest 97L and Invest 98L with an 80% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 7 days and a 30% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 48 hours. So looking at the latest cone for Hurricane Lee, Hurricane Lee's wind field is really starting to expand as Lee has undergone several eyewall replacement cycles, each of which has expanded the wind field. We're expecting a major hurricane through late tonight, and by tomorrow afternoon, Lee is expected to weaken to a hurricane and remain a hurricane all the way through Saturday afternoon as Lee approaches southwestern Nova Scotia and a post-tropical storm moving over New Brunswick by Sunday afternoon. And Lee's going to get kind of close to Bermuda between Thursday afternoon and Thursday night. And a tropical storm watch has been issued now for Bermuda. So looking at the latest interactive Zoom Earth satellite imagery and cone for Hurricane Lee, as I mentioned, Hurricane Lee is becoming a massive storm, and this is an absolutely massive storm. If I were to compare Hurricane Lee to any state, Lee is larger than the state of Texas, so this is a truly massive storm with the cloud bands extending several hundred miles from the center and still has a good structure to it, despite remaining weaker than forecasted. So looking at the latest Zoom Earth intensity guidance, Wednesday 1 a.m. Central Time, we're looking at a 115 mile per hour Category 3 major hurricane moving to the northwest. Wednesday 1 p.m. Central Time, a 110 mile per hour Category 2 hurricane curving to the north-northwest. By Thursday morning, a 105 mile per hour Category 2 hurricane curving to the north-northwest. Moving to the north by Thursday afternoon as a 100 mile per hour Category 2 hurricane, passing to the west of Bermuda during the day Thursday. Friday 1 a.m. Central Time, a 90 mile per hour Category 1 hurricane moving to the north. Friday 1 p.m. Central Time, an 85 mile per hour Category 1 hurricane moving to the north-northeast. By Saturday 1 p.m. Central Time, 75 mile per hour Category 1 hurricane moving to the north, and we're expecting a landfall in Nova Scotia sometime Saturday afternoon. And then by Sunday 1 p.m. Central Time, a 45 mile per hour extratropical cyclone across eastern New Brunswick. So looking at the latest Hurricane Lee spaghetti model guidance, Lee is expected to pass about 150 miles west of Bermuda in the next 60 hours and then make a landfall now. Most of the models are making a landfall in southwestern Nova Scotia in the next 96 hours, moving through eastern New Brunswick in the next 120 hours, and then curving into northern Nova Scotia in the next 144 hours or 6 days. Do have a couple of models curving it towards Maine. However, regardless of where Lee goes, the impacts are going to be felt across New England and all of Atlantic Canada. Looking at the intensity model guidance, Lee is expected to remain a Category 3 hurricane through at least the next 24 hours, weakening to a Category 2 through the next 72 hours, and then to a Category 1 through the next 96 hours, and eventually weakening and dissipating in the next 6 days or so. Looking at the latest GFS ensemble tracks and intensity, Hurricane Lee, the majority of the GFS ensemble members are making a landfall anywhere from central to southwestern Nova Scotia into eastern New Brunswick. A couple of the ensembles want to make a landfall in eastern Maine. And looking at the European model ensembles, European ensembles are showing a little bit further east of a track, with nearly all of the European ensembles having Lee impact, making a landfall anywhere from western to eastern Nova Scotia and moving to Newfoundland, and getting about 100 miles west of Bermuda. So looking at the latest probabilities for tropical storm force winds from Hurricane Lee, Bermuda, you have about a 50 to 60% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds from Hurricane Lee. So tropical storm force winds are going to be likely across Bermuda, and then going up towards New England, eastern Massachusetts, you have about a 10 to 20% chance as of right now. Cape Cod, a 20 to 30% chance. Central Maine, a 10 to 20% chance. And then towards southeastern Maine, about a 20 to 40% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds from Hurricane Lee. New Brunswick, about a 20 to 40% chance. And then as we go towards southwestern Nova Scotia, about a 40 to 60% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds as of this evening, and these are going to increase as Lee gets closer. Looking at to close out the video, the key messages for Hurricane Lee. Dangerous surf and life-threatening rip currents will affect portions of the northern Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, the Turks and Caicos Islands, the Bahamas, Bermuda, and most of the U.S. East Coast through much of the week. There's an increasing risk of strong winds, rainfall, and high surf impacts to Bermuda later this week, and a tropical storm watch remains in effect for the island. It remains too soon to know what level of additional impacts Lee might have along the northeastern U.S. coast and Atlantic Canada late this week and this weekend. However, since wind and rainfall hazards will extend well away from the center as Lee grows in size, and this is very important, users should continue to monitor updates to Lee's forecast during the next several days. So as the key message is mentioned, and as you can see in the wind field, by the time Lee moves up towards Nova Scotia, there are going to be tropical storm force winds extending into New England. So make sure you're preparing for tropical storm conditions across New England, and especially Atlantic Canada, hurricane conditions across Atlantic Canada. Please stay safe. Thanks for watching this evening's tropical update, and have a wonderful evening, my friends.